All right. Well, good evening, MSAD75. The July 9th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Directors will now come to order. Before we begin the roll call, please note that anyone who wishes to speak during public comment tonight is being asked to sign up on the clipboard at the lectern. Once the clipboard or piece of paper is in my hands, we will not be accepting any more signups. And with that, Heidi,
Yes.
please begin the roll.
Hudson Hayward.
Present.
Amy Spelke.
Here.
Will is absent. William Beatty.
Present.
Andy Began.
Present.
Catherine Brilliant.
Present.
Jessica Damon.
Present.
Tony Goncalves.
Present.
Gregory Greenleaf.
Present.
Mary Hobson.
Here.
Billy Coolis.
Here.
Brian Larson. Joaquin Nernberger. Did I say that right?
Yes. Here.
Okay. Kim Pacelli.
Here.
And Frank Wright.
Present.
Look at us, full house. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Excellent. Next is item 3, adjustments to the agenda. I believe there was only one. We added one item to the consent agenda, which is the appointment of a nurse. Thank you very much, Andy. But other than that, no other adjustments. So I would consider action to accept those adjustments. Moved by Frank, seconded by Mary. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous of those present. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to item 4, public comment. Based on the number of signups, we'll call it about 3 minutes, which is usually our average assignment because it's just the one. Before we start, I'd like to remind everybody that public comment is governed by policy BEDH, newly updated BEDH. All speakers should begin their comments with their name and town of residence, and to make sure their comments are addressed to the chair, which is me. Speakers are expected to follow rules of common etiquette and decorum during public comment. During public comment, members of the public may not make personal attacks based on a protected class, make complaints or allegations concerning specific district students, or comment about an employee in either a negative or positive manner. And with that, we'll get started with Alan Sarvinas.
Wasn't going to jump in midway. Alan Sarvinas, Topsom. I live across the street. And about 6 years ago, I hopped in to participate with the school board. I think Mr. Wright, Director Wright, was there. I'm not sure too many else were here, but it was a rough dive into trying to participate in this process. But I took myself serious, and I believed in what I believed in. And last month, I ended up on a panel with a university president, Maine School Management Association director, and it just shows that when people come forward and they have concerns, to make sure you're hearing them out, even if it's not in the ways that you're used to hearing them. The packet that was handed out, I wanted to go over a couple of the slides from the last budget. Now that you're starting the cycle all over, I wanted to make sure that you're aware that there's a national literacy-based reform occurring in certain states, and Ohio is implementing it locally, not waiting for the state to approve or have the votes to approve it. And it's phonics-based, science of learning, eliminating failing forward after 4th grade. So that would be awesome if the school board looked into that, literacy reform and implementing it locally. I also wanted to make sure you were aware that the new educational tax credit that's available for states is also available to be used with public school students, including approved special education needs and after-school care program. The second one, I had special education and student well-being. Just with the middle one with social emotional learning, it's been around a long time. But recently, I believe in December last year, the Maine Department of Education said that they wanted focus to shift back to the basics. And I just want to make sure that's communicated, and that social emotional learning is something extra and that parents are aware before. And if they opt out, that's something that happens immediately. I am interested in what the definition of a trusted adult is. I'm not going to get one tonight, but in terms of having a trusted adult in all schools, that's a term that I'm not sure everyone understands exactly what it means and what that adult is and what they've done to earn the trust of someone else's child. The last one is the Our Path Forward, which is obviously some symbolism of leadership and directing and showing the school district your path forward. The center one says student-centered. Obviously, education is always going to be student-centered, but the greatest trends across successful education is the educational environment within the home. And I believe it would benefit you much more if this was family-centered. Child's rights are tied to the parents' rights legally, if that's what you need in terms of a school board. But if you had family-centered instead of student-centered, then you may have more participation from certain families and parents. And I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sarvinas. If you need me to hand out any copies, I certainly can. All righty, that's all for public comment tonight. So we can move on, if I find my agenda, to item 5, the consent agenda. I would accept a motion on that.
Second?
Moved by Frank, seconded by Amy. There's no discussion of the consent agenda, but if anybody wants to pull something out, you may say, please pull out item X. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous of those present. Thank you very much. Next is item 6, recognitions and acknowledgements. I'd like to start with the observation of a moment of silence in memory of Rhonda Weaver, former district teacher at West Harpswell School, Williams Cone School, and Woodside from 1984 to 2005. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to ask for the observation of a moment of silence in memory of Michael Estes, former district teacher and West Harpswell School principal from 1979 to 2013. Thank you very much. I would also add a welcome to Joaquin Nernberger, our newest member of the board from Bowdoin. Welcome, Joaquin. Item 7, board announcements and correspondence. We have none tonight. Item 8, reports and presentations. The student rep is not here tonight, so we will not have a report from them, but sort of let everyone know, I've adjusted the seating and Frank has graciously agreed with it to sort of focus our students a little more during our meetings to help give them a little more of the spotlight when they come and present to us. So we'll see how that goes. We can always adjust. After that, we can move on to item 9, the superintendent's report.
Sure, I have a couple things tonight. I don't know if you've all seen the Parent Square notifications that I've been putting out regarding transportation for next year. We've had almost 1,500 people respond, which is amazing. If you haven't responded yet, the link is still available. Please put that, please get right on there and let us know whether you need transportation or not for your students. And if you miss it, we'll find you and make sure that you're all set for the next coming year.
Question about that, Heidi. If a parent, say, of 2 students in the district, say, filled the form out when you sent it out in June, is that response still captured or do I need to do it again?
Still captured.
Great.
Yes.
So if you filled it out once, you're good to go.
Perfect. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that. And if you put your 2 students in one, when you fill it out once, that's okay too, because we see the names. So then I want to update you a little bit on what's happening in the business office, and Evan couldn't be here tonight, so he gave me a little write-up, and I want to make sure that you know what's going on with that. We're really making good progress on closing out our fiscal year 2026 while we're still processing final invoices and payments related to the prior fiscal year. We expect to have a much clearer picture of year-end in revenues and expenditures to share with the board at our next board meeting in August. And at this time, nothing looks out of the ordinary, and we should be still in the $1 million surplus range. In addition, we have held 2 meetings with our auditing team as part of our annual audit process, and the auditors are currently reviewing our documentation remotely in preparation for their on-site field work later this summer. So at this point, the year-end close and audit are progressing as expected. And if you have any questions, Evan is the person to reach out to.
Fantastic. That's great news. And that
For me.
means, yeah, it's true. That does mean we're getting ever closer to being fully caught up on our auditing schedule. So that's great news. And please pass along our eternal thanks to Evan for the speed and rigor with which he's brought to that process. Is that it from you?
That's it.
All right, well, next move on to the board chair's report, and I'm going to relocate because I was going to share my screen quickly to show you my special project from the last 2 years, which is the board member handbook. It's currently, I emailed you all the link, so you should see it in your email now. I could print out a copy. I did not at this point in time, but we will get that done. I'm going to turn off my mic. I think this one's on. Yes. No one needs double mic'd Hudson. That doesn't do anyone any good. Thank you, Nick, for turning that on. So what this project has been is sort of an attempt to gather what most of you encountered as a printed binder, which was an excellent resource of data, but was very static. Because it was printed and photocopied, and once it was printed and photocopied, it couldn't get updated. We all got it. I'm extremely grateful for it, and I spent actually a lot of time. I think I had 2 or 3 different copies from giving orientation as well as receiving it that I referenced incredibly frequently as I put this together. So, Catherine, let your mother know how grateful I am for the work she's put into that all these years. But what I wanted to do based on my time as chair 2 years ago when I wrapped up was to try and create something a little more updatable and digital. And yeah, Nick, is it a separate window? I'm trying to figure out how to do this because I've got one screen up. Is this? There we go. Okay. Cool. I just didn't sure. It looks like it's a second screen. I found it. I found it. Sorry. Yeah, no, it just threw me off. So I want to do this. Oh, it's doing it over here. 1 second, guys. I just need to move it over. Or anyway, I'll get my mouse back there. I'll talk while I do this. And so anyway, I wanted to update it, have it be more updatable. I wanted it to be more accessible, right? A big binder that we get, a week or 2 or 4 before we begin our service on the board is hard to carry around. You always have it when you need it. What if you've got a question? What if you need to access information? So the idea was to try and get it a little more regularly available. So there we go. I knew I could get it. Now I should make it full screen again. There we go. So this is let's do this. I had it all up, but now of course my tabs have all moved. Here we go. This is it, the MSAD75 board member handbook. So it's composed of 5 pages. Page 1 is the homepage. It's got a very brief little introductory paragraph. It includes our vision statement, our mission statement, some quick resources, contact information for Heidi. As I was building this, it included contact information for Ryan, but of course now I am the chair, so it's my contact information, district office info, and some very top-level key links. So in case you're ever trying to remember where something might be, it will take you there. It also at the bottom includes a link to the MSBA handbook, which many of you have probably gotten physical copies of at some point over the years, like a spiral bound, pretty thick book, but they publish it as a PDF and a web page. Both are linked down below. And that is an incredible resource. I built it with sort of 4 subpages. We have the district, and it's broken down with sort of just heading categories on aspects of the district. What is our district? What schools and facilities do we have? What is Region 10 Technical High School? What is Mary Meeting Community and Adult Education? Try to include that information in a place that we can find it in a consolidated, sort of simple place for us all to go. Now, a lot of this information obviously exists on the Region 10 website, on our website, in many different spots, but I wanted to create somewhere that board members can go and find this directly. I tried to include cross-references or source links whenever I did this. Hey, where's this information coming from? Here's where it's coming from. So it'll link you out to everywhere you want to go. It includes a lot of high-level contacts for all of our administrators or department heads. Again, just email addresses that are publicly available. I'm not, doxing anybody with this, I promise. The board has information about the board, talks about our duties, talks about our structure, our elections, tries to answer some of the questions that come up. Most of these answers are in policy, but reading the whole B policy book takes a long time and maybe it's hard to find the specific answer you're looking for. So I tried to, as best I could, anticipate the questions that I've been asked or that I have asked over my time on the board and try to put those in a sort of easily digestible location. It includes information about meetings. One of the things that I think is going to be very useful is I included what's called a governance calendar. Those of you who've gone to the MSMA event in October, the conference, that's the word that I could not think of. One of the things they've talked about in several board workshops is the idea of a governance calendar. What are your major to-do items over the year? This is a list I started building when I was chair. Amy refined it, Ryan refined it further. And then I took that sort of active chair level governance information and I turned that into something that's a little more friendly to board members and like, hey, here's what to expect. What are we going to do in July? What are we going to do in August? So on and so forth. It's not literally every action we're going to take, but it's the ones that we know that we can predict, laying that out. So anyone can look at this and get an idea of the shape of a year for a board member. So that's the board page. The boardsmanship page pulls a lot of the ancillary items from the photocopied binder that many of us got. It pulls a lot of the little handouts. It sort of references some of the stuff from the How Not to Be a Bad Board Member book that we've all gotten a copy of, which I still stand by as a really useful tool, as well as pulling items from the boardsmanship workshops we've done with the MSBA, that we might have done at the MSMA conference, or that we've just done internally with ourselves. So this has got a lot of stuff. Again, most of it references B policies. Most of it's about how to do the business of the work that we do. It's not supposed to be exhaustively definitive, but it's supposed to be a really good resource and reminder for all of us. Lastly is this miscellany page. This is the least built out. There's items to come. I'm trying to remember when Amy was chair, we had that workshop where we got some insight on like, what's the foundation, the organizational foundation of Region 10? What's the organizational foundation of Mary Meeting Adult and Community Education? And what I'd love to be able to do is link to those documents because we've often had questions about them. I've defined them already under the district. I don't feel we need a lot of that information, but hoping just to get some of those links in place. And I started building a list of common terms and definitions, things that I didn't know what they meant. Like when I was on policy committee and I'd see school administrative unit or SAU in a bunch of templates. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Well, here's what it means. And what is an IEP? What is a 504? So this is a very short list right now. It's only got maybe 6 or 7 terms, but I'd love to build this out as we go on. So anytime anyone encounters something like, I didn't know what that was, we'll put it on let me know and I'll put it on the list. Or the next chair, Amy, will put it on the list. And this is a living document. We're going to update it. It's not ever going to be fixed. But yeah, I built it as a web page so that you can access it on your phone and it will flow appropriately. If I built it as a PDF, it would be impossible to read on your phone, but it can still be printed to paper for anyone who needs a paper copy. So yeah, you guys have this link. Explore it, reference it. Tell me what's broken. Tell me what's great. Tell me what's missing. But this is sort of, it's ours now. It's no longer my project. This is our board handbook. And so updates will happen because it's a living document. So yeah, any top level questions or comments? Mary and then Jessica.
Okay, Mary.
Well, thank you, Mary.
Sounds like a dissertation or something. So like, you did a very beautiful, this is it looks very comprehensive. I mean, I haven't read the whole thing.
Of course.
Looks very good. And the fact that it's a living document is even nicer because it can be added to and, changed or whatever, but it's just a very good document. So thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Jessica.
Same. Well done. This looks really good. I appreciate the terms and I'm already thinking of some to add.
Good. I figured all of us could have something to contribute there. So that's perfect, Jessica. Thank you. Ryan.
I would just add my thanks and also that we were able to kind of work through this a little bit with Catherine and Joaquin both in the onboarding meetings we had there. So it allowed us to get a little bit of insight and what may be missing still and not. And
found some good typos that way too.
Find some more, yeah. So this is awesome though. And I think you're a great addition for the board, but also for the public to be able to come and see some of this information when they're curious. So thank you, Hudson.
Thank you. And yeah, so the goal, and I've already been working with Nick, is we're going to post a link to this on the public facing webpage. This is going to be a public document. It's not right now, but it will be. Part of that is I think it's useful. And I think for people who are considering running, for people who want to know how the board works, this has got useful information. And honestly, I looked at, like, Brunswick has theirs as a Word document. I was able to look at Brunswick's and crib some important, oh, I should make sure I include that. And I feel like if ours being public serves a similar purpose, it gives the opportunity for any other main school board who's wondering what are some strategies or ways that we can help orient our members, this can maybe serve as a resource. So anyway, this is it. You all have that link. I will let you know when the link is updated to be publicly available. But for the time being, you all have that. If anyone needs a printed copy, just shoot me an email and I will make that happen. But yeah, thank you all very much. And we can put up the screen now, Nick, if we want to, but it's okay if it stays down. All right, next on our agenda, thank you, Nick, is requests for any upcoming agenda items. I think Ryan did a good job of asking, but I wanted to try to just make sure it's in writing so that I don't forget, because I can be a forgetful guy. So if anyone has anything they'd like to see on a future agenda, you can bring it up now. You can email me, you can call me, but just thought I'd say it. Cool. Well, you all know how to get a hold of me if you think of something, so please do. And with that, we're going to move on to committee reports. I don't think any committees have met since our last meetings. It was only 2 weeks ago. So we don't have any of those, which is great. So now we can move on to old business. And we're going to hear, so item 12.1, to consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to existing policy BE school board meetings. Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. As the policy chair at the time this document was made, I will say you can the cover sheet, I think, answers all the questions regarding changes. But if anyone's got questions, I'd be happy to help answer. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? So this is great. We don't abstain when we don't know. This is a board policy that we have. Abstentions are for conflicts of interest. Generally speaking, we've been asked to vote. To vote is our duty and our responsibility. So what I would encourage you to do, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I would encourage you moving forward to try to vote. This is true for all of us. I'm not trying to pick on Joaquin. And that if we're not sure, the answer is to maintain the status quo, which is usually a vote against the motion. That's not always going to be true, but 99 times out of 100, status quo is a vote against the motion. So I would just encourage us to do that because we have been charged by our communities to act, and I want to make sure that we are living up to that. So that's my little spiel. I will not bring it up again. That is a one-time Hudson spiel. So
Hudson, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but there's a policy, right?
there is, and that is in the board handbook,
Excuse me,
member
it's the
handbook.
B policy.
It's a B policy. It's in the board
policy.
member handbook. I don't have it in front of me, but there is a policy called abstentions, which covers exactly that. That's where that.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I
No,
just
no.
wanted to highlight that there is a
Yes.
policy.
I'm not making it
what
up.
You're describing.
You are exactly right, Kim. Thank you. So anyway, all good. So that was 13 for, 1 opposed, 1 abstention, apologies, sorry. And the motion carries. So thank you all very much.
Hudson?
Yes.
That policy is BEDFA.
BEDFA, for anyone listening at home. Thank you very much, Haley. BDFA. Moving on to item 12.2. Oop, I hit my mic. I'm so sorry, everybody, especially if you're at home. To consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to existing policy IK, graduation requirements through class of 2029.
Second?
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Amy. No changes since our last meeting. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Great. So that is 13 in favor, 1 opposed. The motion carries. Thank you all very much. Item 12.3, to consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to existing policy IKF, graduation requirements, class of 2030 and after. I'd entertain a motion.
Second?
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Amy. The only comment I will add is there is an existing policy, IKF, which regards the veterans of some wars getting diplomas. The policy committee will be looking at that this month and recoding that to match as well. So I'm not super concerned for the summer, but some dueling codes that will get worked out very shortly. But other than that, no additional comments. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that is 13-1 again. The motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 12.4, to consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to existing policy KF, community use of school facilities.
Second?
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Amy. Nothing to add that's not on the cover sheet. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thank you all very much. That's 13-1. The motion carries again. 12.5, to consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to existing policy KFO, Orion Performing Arts Center.
So moved.
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. No new notes to be added that aren't in the cover sheet. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That is 13-1 again. The motion carries. Thank you all very much. Item 12.6, to consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to new policy EBBD, temperature standards for schools.
So moved.
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. No notes to add that are not on the cover sheet. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 13-1 again. The motion carries. Thank you all. Final item of old business, 12.7, to consider a second reading and adoption of revisions to new policy JLCDA, medical cannabis in schools.
So moved.
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. No notes that are not in the cover sheet. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That is 13-1 again. The motion carries. Thank you all. And now we're going to move on to section 13, new business, with 13.1, to consider action to reaffirm policy BCA, the Board Member Code of Ethics. Moved and seconded. So this is something that we try to do yearly, and through our board self-evaluation, one of the things that we discussed was how to help make this document even more sort of like part of our, forward in our minds, more part of our work. And one of the things that we discussed was reading this aloud as a group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Andy start, and he's going to read paragraph 1, and then Mary will read A, and then B, and then C. And we're going to proceed across all the board members. We're going to leave Heidi out, and we'll just circle around until we're done. Sound good? All right. Andy, take it away.
Board members view service on the board of directors.
I want to start the first paragraph, actually, not A. We'll start you with the first paragraph there.
I can do
Sorry.
that. Having accepted the challenge of service on the MSAD 75 Board of Directors, board members accept the principles set forth in the following code of ethics to guide them in helping to provide a quality education to all the students of MSAD 75.
And it's okay if people need a minute to pull it up. I understand.
So B.
A.
Is it my turn? B. Board members will at all times think.
Read A. Sorry, not B. Read
Oh, A. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Okay. Board members view service on the Board of Directors as an opportunity to serve their community, state, and nation based on the belief that public education is the best means to promote the welfare of our people and to preserve our democracy, our democratic way of life.
B, board members will at all times think of students first and base decisions on how those decisions will affect students, their education, and their training.
C, board members will make no disparaging remarks in or outside board meetings about other members of the board or their opinions.
D, board members will remember at all times that as an individual, each has no legal authority outside the meetings of the board and will conduct relationships with school staff, local citizenry, and in all methods of communications on the basis of this fact.
E,
Board members recognize that their responsibility is not to operate the schools, but to see that they are well operated.
F, board members will seek to provide an education for all students in the community commensurate with their needs and abilities.
G, board members will listen to all citizens, but will refer all complaints to the proper authorities and will discuss such complaints only at a regular meeting after the administrative solution proves unsatisfactory.
H, board members will support a decision graciously once it has been made by the majority of the board.
I, board members will not criticize employees publicly, but will make such criticism to the superintendent for investigation and action if necessary.
J, board members will make decisions openly after all facts bearing on a question have been presented and discussed.
A, board members will refuse to make promises as to how they will vote on a matter that should properly come before the board as a whole.
L, board members will not discuss the confidential business of the board at home, on the street, at work, online, or in any other location. The place for such discussion is in executive session.
M, board members will confine board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, leaving the administration of the schools to the superintendent.
N, board members will welcome and encourage cooperation and participation by teachers, administrators, and other personnel in developing policies that affect the welfare and that of the students they serve.
Board members will endeavor at all times to see that schools have adequate financial support within the capabilities of the community and state in order that every student may receive the best possible education.
The board members will resist every temptation and outside pressure to use their position as a school board member to benefit themselves or any individual or agency apart from the total interests of MSAD 75.
Q, it is the expectation of the board that members be in regular attendance at board meetings, special board meetings, workshops, and committee meetings. The board also recognizes the importance of fulfilling the responsibilities of their positions as elected officials. Board members will endeavor to attend meetings, recognizing that their presence means representation for their town. If a member of the board is unable to attend meetings on a regular basis, that board member is expected to consult with the chair of the board or committee about continuing in the position.
R, while board members may use computers or computing devices, they will avoid undue distractions during board meetings, special board meetings, workshops, and committee meetings. During meetings, board members will refrain from communicating with each other or the public via phones, computers, or other technology. Board members will model professionalism in their use of technology during meetings.
S, board members will recognize at all times that the school board of MSAD 75 is an agent of the state, and as such, that they will abide by the laws of the state and regulations formulated by the Maine Department of Education and by the State Board of Education.
And T, board members will make every effort to be informed and knowledgeable about the issues facing the school community.
Thank you all very much. And I gotta say, great mic etiquette. Good job. With that, any discussion or questions before we vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 13-1. Next, we have item 13.2 to consider action to reaffirm the MSAD number 75 board norms. Moved by Ryan, seconded by Amy. So this is a document that the board developed when Frank and Mary were early in their board tenure, and we have found useful as a guide. I do want to flag that I'm going to ask the board the policy committee to code this as an exhibit so that it lives somewhere in the policy book. It's something that Gregory has brought up numerous times over the years is, where does this live? What is this document? And now it's referenced in the board handbook, which is great, but I think even more importantly, I think it should be an exhibit to our code of ethics. So that'll be a request to the policy committee. But for now, it is not coded as such, and here we are being asked to reaffirm it. I will not read this one aloud, but I will ask if anyone has any questions or discussion about this. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, 13-1, it is reaffirmed. Item 13.3, to consider action to approve added coverage for the job classification of Facilities Coordinator HVAC Specialist under its main PERS Consolidated Participating Local District Plan as written.
Second.
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. Heidi, this is just the new hire that we did at our last meeting. This is making sure you can participate in the main PERS program. Great, so nothing super controversial there. Any questions for the admin about this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 13.4. Okay, now the meat of the meeting begins. To consider action to elect a finance committee for the 2026-2027 school year. We don't need a motion yet. What we're going to do is each town is going to caucus to the side. Probably a lot of you town members have already spoken a little bit, so it'll be quick for some of us. But each town will pick one person to represent them on the finance committee. Topsom will pick 2 members. However, one of those 2 members is Amy. So Topsom will pick 1 additional member this year. As a reminder, Harpswell and Topsom trade having 2 members, and last year Harpswell had 2. So let's take 5 minutes. So at 7:11, we're going to come back here. And if everyone's ready sooner, we'll come back. But towns, make your decisions.
Gregory, get over here. Looks like it's right. We don't go. I got up this morning. You've got some. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that's a great thing there. Yeah, great. Good, thanks. All right. All right. Whole part stuff. Yeah. No, I was sure that just. Unspoken request. Yeah. I don't. He tormented all. He can't eat again. I'll be going most of the meeting. I'm glad. Yeah. We should. Yeah. Who's, I don't know. Well, gonna be the wife, he can teach me everything, but he said they had something like that. I wish he was older. Both of them. Yeah, sure. So, yes, chair. Just we don't need.
You can go fight it out in the bathroom, right?
In the bathroom.
Yeah, is that scary? Yeah.
You can't go in the hall, right?
I get to you better. He's keeping it on. Yeah. Making sure. Actually, if I'm seeing more.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
I would put money on it. You guys want to put money down? And all that?
Sorry. But
Oh, don't worry, your event is coming.
your assumption is correct.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mark. Someone's gonna make sure the buses are going.
Yes, transportation. I moved to abolish that.
So I asked that
Second.
question.
I'll second.
We might still.
I
do
was
that.
on.
I wanted to wait and see if the bus driver shortage, if you needed to know anything with it about that. And then once we get past that, we'll probably.
Until there's another lottery for the bus. I don't know who's gonna do the insurance.
While we're, so we're waiting to get our final deliberation, it's just document for the next. Yeah. All good. All right. Yeah, there's definitely enough, but you can look on it. All righty, so we are still on item 13.4, and so I would like to, I'll go down by down. Bowden, who would you like to nominate for the Finance Committee? Jessica.
We would actually like to nominate both of us.
We're unable to have two members of Bowden on the Finance Committee. We do have to pick one.
Is it possible to share the role in a 50% fashion?
It's not according to policy. Policy is each community gets one, with Harpswell and Topsom sharing. So I would say that I would prefer it if you guys could come to a consensus on a single member. I can hold on. Do you guys need another couple minutes to discuss? I'm not trying to be a pain in your butts, obviously.
No, we don't need another, we don't need more time. If that's not possible, I'll go ahead and take a third year on the.
Jessica is putting her hat in the ring. Jessica, we thank you for it. And thank you both for serious conversation, truly. Thank you very much. On behalf of Bodenham, I'm going to nominate Andy Began to jump into the Finance Committee. Harpswell, do you have a nomination? Gregory Greenleaf and Topsom? Someone to join Amy?
Oh, sorry, I'm falling down on the job. You're expecting Amy, of course, and then Catherine Brilliant is going to.
Excellent.
Thank you,
So
Catherine.
I'm going to restate the Finance Committee for the purposes of the motion. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Jessica Damon, Andy Began, Gregory Greenleaf, and Catherine Brillant to the Finance Committee, along with Amy Spelke, who is already going to be the Finance Committee's chair.
Second.
I love it. So I'll say moved by Frank, seconded by Kim, it sounded like.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous of those present. Thank you very much. Next, we move on to item 13.5, to consider action to appoint committee members to the Region 10 Cooperative Board. Based on interest, I would entertain a motion to appoint Joaquin Nernberger and Mary Hobson, as well as community member David Johnson, who I did speak with and confirmed his continued interest.
Second.
Moved by Frank, seconded by Amy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous of those present. Thank you, David, out there in the audience. I communicated with him today. I really appreciate David's long-term service to that board. All right, next, item 13.6, to consider action to appoint board members to board and district committees for the 2026-2027 school year. So all of you have a double-sided piece of paper labeled page 1 and page 2. This is me collecting taking the information I got from all of you and putting it together. I'm going to go committee by committee and ask for any comments and adjustments, and we'll make them. What I will say is I was able to accommodate almost everyone's requests. There were 1 or 2 situations where I didn't work, but broadly speaking, everyone got what they asked for. I also did take the liberty of appointing a few people to administrative committees because we needed some of that done. And as chair, under a policy whose code I cannot remember, but which I did read this morning, it is my job to appoint people where they're not volunteers. So these are suggestions now, and then we will all vote on it afterwards. So if you were a little surprised when you see your name on an administrative committee, that's why I put you there. You can discuss it as a group. We can maybe try to find somebody else if you're not excited about it. So we will start with ad hoc athletics with Amy Spelke and Frank Wright. Any changes? We'll move on to CIA with Catherine Brillant, Frank Wright, Haley Kulis, Mary Hobson, and Ryan Larson. Seeing no changes. For facilities, we're going to have Amy Spelke, Andy Began, Bart Beatty, Frank Wright, Joaquin Nernberger, and Tony Goncalves. Excellent. For the support staff negotiations, we currently have Bart Beatty and Ryan Larson. Does that work for everyone? Great. For the professional negotiations, we've got Amy Spelke and Frank Wright. Work for everybody? Great. For policy, we have Gregory Greenleaf, Haley Kulis, Hudson Hayward, Jessica Damon, Joaquin Nernberger, and Kim Pacelli. For SEC, we've got Gregory Greenleaf, Hudson Hayward, Kim Pacelli, and Mary Hobson.
That's the Superintendent's Evaluation Committee, for those who might not know the acronym.
Thank you, Kim. I could have spelled that out. You saved me there. Thank you. No comments other than spelling it out. And then transportation, we've got Andy Began, Bart Beatty, Mary Hobson, and Tony Goncalves. Great, so that's consensus on the board committees. Now we'll move on to the administrative or advisory committees. So we've already done Region 10 Cooperative. Next is the Mary Meeting Adult and Community Education Advisory Board. I've got Catherine Brillant and Mary Hobson. That work for everyone? The Safety Committee, Amy Spelke and Kim Pacelli. Technology Committee, Hudson Hayward. Orion PAC Committee, Gregory Greenleaf. Mental Health Committee, Catherine Brillant. School-Based Health Center Committee, Ryan Larson. Calendar Committee, Hudson Hayward. Professional Evaluation, Performance Evaluation and Professional Growth Committee, PEPG, Gregory Greenleaf. Dropout Prevention Committee, we've got Frank Wright and Tony Goncalves. Gifted and Talented Committee, Hudson Hayward. Wellness, Jessica Damon. And Belonging, we've got Haley Kulis and Mary Hobson. All right, there are no changes. So I would entertain a motion to appoint committees as listed just now. Moved by Frank, seconded by Haley. Any last minute discussion or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is unanimous. Thank you all very much. This is going to be a very exciting committee group for the year. So I would advise committees to try to get together and schedule a meeting. If you need me to assist with that, committee members can reach out to me and I'll help do that. We want to elect chairs at the very least and kick off the year's work. One of the, I'll just sort of say as an asterisk to this motion, we are going to have a workshop. It's not sure if it's going to be a July or an August workshop on committee chairing. The only reason I'm not sure is there might be some facilities master plan work that we need to do a workshop as well, and we're trying to respect our consultant's schedule. So depending on where it fits in, we're going to do that. But I'm going to help host a workshop, and former committee chairs can chime in. It doesn't have to be me. Just on helping people understand what does it mean to chair a committee, especially dealing with things like public comment. That's something that people have brought up. Like how is a committee chair supposed to know how to deal with stuff? They typically get less training than a board chair, right? So just go over some stuff like that. It'll be easy and simple. And for any committees that have not met, what I will maybe try to do is schedule a series of 4-minute committee meetings prior to the workshop, solely with the agenda item of electing a chair, and just boom, 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 move through and get that done. So we'll sort of see how that unfolds. I know policy's already got a scheduled date next week. I don't know if any other committees do, but that's the one that I'm aware of.
I was going to ask, the policy committee is scheduled for Wednesday, July 15th from 6 to 8. And the plan is to continue to meet in the superintendent's conference room. Is that the thinking?
That's the current thinking at the very least, yes. And we'll, as I said at the last policy committee meeting, I said I would help take care of that agenda since I was going to be board chair and was policy chair. So I'll get that agenda built and published tomorrow. So we're ready to rock and roll with our new member, which is exciting. Yep.
Hudson, in a couple items, we're going to get to the finance.
Well, that's the finance calendar. Thank you. That's a good point. Yeah, finance has a very big calendar. Spoiler alert, it's last year's calendar moved forward the day it needs to be rotated to stay relevant. But
Next meeting will be September 2nd, assuming we adopt this.
perfect. And you don't have to elect a chair because you already have one. So excellent. Well, with that, I'm going to move on to item 13.7, to consider action to elect a delegate and alternate to represent the board at the Saturday, October 24th MSBA Delegate Assembly. So before we open up to nominations, the MSBA Delegate Assembly is when all the MSBA member boards come together and vote on any constitution and bylaw changes, any resolution changes. They vote on new board of directors for the MSBA. They vote on elected officers for the MSBA. I am a member of the board of directors for the MSBA. I have been I'm in my second year now, and I will be on this agenda in October as up for renewal because I was filling in the remainder of somebody else's term. So I'll be up for reelection. But yeah, so what this typically is, it's 3-ish hours on a Saturday. Usually there's about an hour on the Wednesday or Thursday evening before where you join a Zoom session and everyone tries to learn how to use the app that we use to vote. That Zoom session can be kind of painful. I'll just be honest. But delegate assembly, once it starts, it's on a Saturday morning. I've attended a couple times listening on my AirPod on my phone at my kids' soccer games at Forsyth Field, right? And so I just do it there. And it's rare that you need to speak. You just need to vote on your phone. Now, this board will give the delegate and the alternate direction. We'll do that later this summer when we know what the delegate assembly agenda looks like. This board will meet. We will discuss the agenda, and we'll say we want to authorize Ryan and Amy to whoever's voting to vote yes, this, yes, this, yes, this, no, that, yes, 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 because they're voting on behalf of us. We'll authorize that direction. So it's not like you need to being a delegate doesn't mean, oh God, extra responsibility. You've got a little responsibility, but you're carrying forth the will of this board. So it's not so bad. It can be kind of long, but it's also kind of interesting. So with that being said, I'm happy to be a delegate. I'm happy to be an alternate. I'm happy to be nothing. I don't know what other people's interests are. Mary.
I nominate Hudson to be a delegate.
All right, I'll accept that nomination. Do we have an alternate in the wings?
I'll be an alternate.
All right.
You're going to be the delegate.
I'll be the delegate. All right, so we have a nomination for myself as the delegate and for Ryan. Ryan is the alternate. Ryan, would you second Mary's motion? And I'm going to second Ryan's motion. So we've got a nomination and a second for each of us. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous of those present. Ryan and I will do our best to do you proud. It's not that complicated. Great. Thank you all. And I will try to continue to report back on what I learned through my work on the MSBA board, because I think a big part of that is trying to bring work back into our local district. So I'll keep doing that and hopefully do that even more moving forward. Item 13.8, to consider action to appoint Dr. Alyssa Goodwin as the district's physician.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. There's a bit of a biographical excerpt in the agenda that you can all look at. Heidi, do you have anything you want to add or discuss?
I really want to take the time to thank Amy Hamilton for really pulling this together with all the school nurses and doing the research and making this happen. And we're really lucky to have Dr. Goodwin moving forward with us. But I also want to thank Dr. Losi for his years of service to our school system. I know he's heading towards retirement. And so thank you for all that you did for us.
And if memory serves, Dr. Losi was our school physician during some challenging times, medically speaking. So yes, thank you to Dr. Losi. And am I correct that Dr. Goodwin is also the same role for the Brunswick School District?
Yes.
Great. So any questions for Heidi? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous of those present. Thank you, Dr. Goodwin. Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. No problem. All right, item 13.9, to consider action to approve the 2026 to 2027 board meeting schedule.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Ryan, seconded by Frank. So this is in our book. This codifies the work that we just did in policy BE. So the second Thursday of each month, generally speaking, typically, is our regular board meeting. The fourth Thursday of each month typically is reserved as a workshop or special meeting date. I will tell you right now, we will not hold every workshop you see in this calendar, but I do want us to treat those Thursdays as scheduled dates in case something comes up. And I will endeavor to work with Heidi to make sure that everyone's getting plenty of advance notice about that. So if we're canceling it, people know that it's being canceled. But I do want to make sure that we remain available to the district if a need comes up. And I do want to hold valuable workshops for us. And if you've got ideas that you want to workshop, again, send them my way. I've got a couple that I've been thinking of, but feedback is always really good, and you guys will know what you want development-wise. So that being said, this is what that workshop is. The only other thing that I would add is those who've been on the board for a couple of years know that typically in October, we move to the first and third Thursday to make it easier to attend the MSBA conference. However, this year, the way that October is laid out, we don't have to do that. The MSBA conference is in the 5th week of October, not the 4th. So we do not have to make that adjustment here. Also call out that we're not obviously planning on any 4th Thursday workshops in November or December. I did include a workshop date for November because historically we've had one then, but we may or may not keep that depending on how the year develops. Any questions or comments about the calendar?
The workshop that you described a few minutes ago regarding the
Yes.
role of the chair, is that slated for
That
July
would be
3rd?
either the July 23rd or August 27th one. It'd be one of those two. Currently, I was planning on it being July 23rd just to get it in front of chairs as quickly as possible. But again, we're not sure where the facilities master plan needs might lie, so it's a little bit of a question mark there at the moment, which where it'll fall. Jessica.
Just wanted to ask other board members for consideration. I know the last couple of years, we've had a board meeting really close to graduation, and just wanted to, I noticed some of the staff who were invited to participate. I think it's a strain on them, or it might be. So I wanted to wonder among board members if we might want to reconsider the June 10th meeting in 2027.
To move it, are you thinking move it early or move it later?
Yeah, I guess open for discussion. I'm seeing June 13th as graduation. I hate to do that to staff.
Totally. I will flag the likely need for a special meeting if we were to do that because of SEC process needs, which happen in early June. And it might be a big push to get that done by June 3rd completely, which again, I don't want to guarantee that would be a challenge. I just want to make clear that if we were to move that, it might not totally remove the need for a meeting that night.
I wonder if we could, maybe having just said that, I don't know, but could we swap the special for the regular, the 3rd and the 10th on that month?
We could. So yeah, the purpose of that special meeting on June 3rd, the idea for that one is that would be the celebration of retiring staff members, which we really enjoyed doing as a separate meeting this past year.
Yep.
We want to make sure that gets done before the end of school. Now, June 10th is still before the end of school. But that would mean that if we were to swap them, June 10th would become the celebration. So that would be inviting all the retiring members, some principals, probably Heidi, certainly.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good idea either. Anyway, we can ruminate on it.
I think that's totally reasonable. What I will say is, I would recommend that we vote to adopt a calendar, but that doesn't mean we can't vote to change a calendar. So Jessica, if that's a serious concern, I can talk to Heidi and I can try to see if we have any adjustments to make well in advance of June, right? And we won't wait till May 27th to make that change. But if that's amenable to people, that might be the best way to try to see if there's any alternatives that make sense. Excellent. Thank you for bringing that up, Jessica. I appreciate that. So with that consideration firmly planted, any other comments or questions about the calendar? Great. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? All right. That is unanimous. Thank you all very much. To consider, 13.10, to consider action to approve the Finance Committee and Budget Development meeting dates.
Second?
Moved by Frank, seconded by Amy. So your exhibit here takes the very familiar form that we've been using for several years now of laying out the calendar. This calendar, as I said, is exactly the same as previous year's calendars, just with dates shifted to maintain the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of it all. The last comment that I will make is that you, members of the Finance Committee, should expect these dates to hold, but the topics might slide a little bit. You might have a presentation move to a different date or whatever. That is, not uncommon to happen. But otherwise, the dates are going to be pretty firm. Any questions or comments about that?
Yeah, I agree with the squishiness of the agenda in some of the early months too.
Yes.
But the dates are solid.
The dates are solid. Yeah, I will add one of the things that Amy and I have discussed is that the kickoff of the year is what is, the public budget forum has not been a rousing success the past couple of years. We still want to do something, but I think part of the work that the committee is doing is what might that look like if it's different? And I'll take this moment to add, this is true of all of our committees. I should have said this earlier. Board members may attend any committee meeting they like, except for negotiation meetings, because those are privileged. But any other committee meeting, a board member is welcome to attend, be that, attending finance committee meetings if you're not on the finance committee, or attending policy or CAA or whatever. And this board has been pretty good about doing that. I've seen lots of board members not on the finance committee at finance committee meetings or policy meetings or CIA committees. So no one should feel like, rats, I'm not on CIA, I can't go. You can go, you can ask questions, you can participate. So just keep that in mind, please, and thank you. Any other comments or questions about the finance committee schedule? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Thank you all very much, and thank you, Evan, for building this document. Item 14, the calendar announcements. Hey, guys, we just adopted a calendar, and that's what it is. So we've got dates, and Heidi will make sure that those get entered into the Google Calendar, which is what the website pulls from, I believe, so that'll all get public. And with that, we're ready to move on to our executive sessions. Our first executive session, we have 3 tonight, and Amy, would you mind reading us into our first one?
Yes, I move pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056D to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing contract negotiations with the Merrimack Teachers Association.
Seconded.
Moved by Amy, seconded by Ryan. We are now in executive session. We haven't voted. Before we vote, Amy had a comment. Sorry, you guys.
So my comment is, we discussed this topic at our last meeting. We had an executive session. We didn't vote because we weren't sure it was required. We have determined it's required. Nothing else has changed. So depends if you all want to discuss it again. If you don't, we might not need the executive session.
And so what I was going to say is if any one person wants the executive session, we will have it. If nobody wants it, Amy, you want it? Great, executive session is. So all those in favor? Opposed? 7:34, we are in executive session. Thank you, Ken.
Not trying to be a sticker.
No. This is what Amy referred to. Yes, please. Everyone take, 2-minute, 3-minute bio break. Come back. I'm going to do it too. So you got 2 more after this. That's fine. We're all good. All right, so we're going to have 2 motions coming out of that executive session. So first, we're going to have 15.1.1. Amy?
I make a motion to authorize the approval of a MOU regarding paid leave.
Moved by Amy, seconded by Ryan. All those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous with those present. Thank you very much. 15.1.2, Amy?
I move to authorize the approval of an MOU related to the payment of stipends in the teacher's contract.
Moved by Amy, seconded by Ryan. All those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous with those present. Thank you very much. Next, we've got item 15.2. Amy?
Pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056B, to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing student discipline.
Moved by Amy, seconded by Frank that time. All those in favor? Opposed? 7:45, we are in executive session. Yep, that's perfect. No, you readmit, it's just readmission. All right, we are back. We're going to move on to item 15.2.1. Amy?
I enthusiastically move that we readmit student X.
Moved by Amy, I'm going to say seconded by Frank. All those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous. Welcome back, student X. We're very happy to have you. And with that, Amy, our next and last executive session of the night.
Oh, man. I move pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing a matter of employment.
Moved by Amy, seconded by Ryan. All those in favor? That is opposed? That is unanimous. 8:04, we are back in executive session.
Okay. Are we on? Are we?
Wait, let's count to 10. All right, we are back from executive session for item 15.3.1. Amy, could you give us a motion, please?
I move that the board schedule a hearing regarding a personnel matter.
We've got a motion by Amy, a second by Frank. All those in favor? Opposed? That is unanimous of those present. So Heidi and I will help communicate with the board on whatever that hearing schedule ends up being. After that, we move on to item 16, adjournment. So without objection, we are adjourned.